Hidden island appears from nowhere. U.S. satellite analysts detect unusual activity. Dozens of Chinese vessels, research ships, maritime militia, Navy escorts, all concentrated on underwater reef. The reef wasn't on military maps, wasn't strategic priority, wasn't even visible at high tide. Until Philippine Coast Guard investigated, found crushed coral, dead reef, artificial depressions, pattern identical to previous island-building operations. China was building new military base, 75 nautical miles from Philippine coast, closer than any previous installation. And nobody noticed until construction already began. Which Chinese military island is largest? A. Fiery Cross, B. Mischief Reef, C. Subi Reef. Sabina Shoal, called Escoda by Philippines, Xianbin Reef by China, Submerged Atoll, Coral Reef Ring, low tide elevation, under international law, cannot be claimed as territory. China doesn't care about international law. At 6:22 a.m. local time, BRP Teresa Magbanua arrived. Philippine Coast Guard flagship, 97-meter patrol vessel. Mission: stop island construction before completion. What crew found was alarming. 34 Chinese maritime militia vessels, anchored, rafted together, floating outposts, normalizing presence, establishing control. 3 PLA Navy warships, hull numbers 622, 537, 570, military escorts, power projection, intimidation. 4 China Coast Guard ships, including CCG 3303 and CCG 4402. Both vessels previously used blocking Philippine resupply missions. Known aggressive operators. 3 Chinese research vessels, with motherboat, data collection equipment, survey gear, exploratory activities. Total, 44 Chinese vessels, at single reef, 75 miles from Philippine mainland. Stay with me. What they're building here threatens everything. The crushed coral told the story. Massive piles, dead reef, deliberately destroyed, dumped on sandbars, creating foundation for land reclamation. Same method used Mischief Reef 2014, same pattern Fiery Cross 2015, same technique Subi Reef 2016. China perfected artificial island construction, industrial dredging, coral crushing, sand pumping, land filling, concrete pouring, infrastructure building. Timeline proven, 18 to 24 months from empty reef to operational military base. Philippine marine scientists documented damage. University of Philippines research team. Underwater surveys. Photographic evidence. Ecological destruction confirmed. Seabed showed artificial depressions, unnatural patterns. Human intervention clear. Environmental damage irreparable. Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative analyzed satellite imagery. CSIS Research Group. Expert assessment. Confirmed. Early stage island building. Gregory Poling, AMTI Director. China uses these islands as power projection platforms. Sabina would be closest base to Philippine shores yet. Severe security threat. Defense analyst Rocio Gadula. Militarized outpost at Scarborough would place key military bases within Chinese missile range, allow surveillance of Luzon Strait, potentially prohibit Philippine and U.S. forces from operating. The strategic location makes Sabina critical, positioned perfectly. 75 nautical miles from Palawan, Philippines' westernmost province, major Air Force base location, South China Sea Gateway. Also, rendezvous point for Philippine resupply missions. 2nd Thomas Shoal, BRP Sierra Madre Outpost, grounded warship, Filipino Marines stationed, regular supply runs required. Chinese control of Sabina cuts that lifeline, blocks access, threatens operations, isolates garrison. How many artificial islands has China built in South China Sea? A. 3, B. 7, C. 15. China began Great Wall of Sand Project 2013, massive land reclamation campaign, 7 reefs targeted. Spratly Islands Archipelago. Disputed territory. Multiple claimants. Total land created, 3,200 acres. That's 13 square kilometers, built from nothing. Dredged from ocean floor, transformed underwater reefs into military installations. The Big Three fully militarized. Fiery Cross Reef, 677 acres reclaimed. 10,000-foot airstrip. Fighter jets deployed. Missile systems installed. Radar domes operational. Port facilities complete. Administrative seat Nansha District. Mischief Reef, 1,379 acres reclaimed. Largest artificial island. Multiple aircraft hangars. VLS missile launchers. Underground storage. Fuel depots. Full naval base. Subi Reef, 976 acres reclaimed. Strategic airfield. 72 fighter jet capacity. Anti-aircraft missiles. Long-range radar. Deepwater port. Forward operating base. Each island equipped with 10,000-plus foot runways for heavy bombers. Surface-to-air missile batteries, HQ-9. Anti-ship cruise missiles, YJ-62, YJ-12. Point defense systems, Type 1130 CIWS. Long-range radar, coverage 500 km plus. Underground fuel storage. Reinforced hangars. Military barracks, 5,000 plus personnel. Communications arrays. Satellite ground stations. Xi Jinping promised Obama 2015, China does not intend to pursue militarization. That was lie. By 2022, U.S. Indo-Pacific Commander Admiral John Aquilino confirmed, military infrastructure appeared to have been completed. China can fly fighters, bombers, plus all offensive capabilities of missile systems. Now Sabina Shoal, 8th island, closest yet to Philippines. Within Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone. Violation of sovereignty. Illegal under international law. Quantity or quality? Which matters in island warfare? Comment Q or L. The 2016 Hague Tribunal ruling rejected China's claims. Permanent Court of Arbitration. Philippines brought case. China refused participation. Verdict: China's 9-dash line has no legal basis. Historical claims invalid. Artificial islands illegal. Environmental destruction prohibited. International law violated. China's response: the award is nothing but waste paper. Illegal, null and void, non-binding. Beijing continued island building, accelerated militarization, expanded operations, ignored ruling completely. By 2025, China buried 4,600 acres coral reef. Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative data. 65% of all South China Sea reef damage. Irreparable environmental destruction. Marine ecosystems destroyed. Fish stocks depleted. Biodiversity eliminated. Coral recovery. Centuries if possible at all. Sabina Shoal surveillance showed seabed discolored. Little to no marine life. Severe reef damage. Dead coral everywhere. Chinese maritime militia vessels caused destruction. Giant clam harvesting. Anchor dragging. Coral crushing. Deliberate environmental warfare. But ecological damage secondary concern. Military threat primary issue. Pentagon 2025 China Military Power Report warns, PLA uses artificial islands to expand offensive capabilities. Fighter jets, bombers, missile systems, full military infrastructure. If China completes Sabina construction, achieves multiple objectives. 1. Forward operating base 75 miles from Philippine mainland. 2. Missile coverage of entire Palawan. 3. Air defense umbrella over 2nd Thomas Shoal. 4. Interdiction capability against resupply missions. 5. Surveillance platform monitoring U.S. forces. 6. Power projection into Philippine EEZ. 7. De facto control contested waters. If you believe China's island building threatens regional stability, type warfare signal. Philippine response was immediate but limited. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. statement: "We will not cede 1 inch of Philippine territory to foreign power." Coast Guard deployed 3 vessels. BRP Teresa Magbanua, flagship prolonged deployment. BRP Cabra, rotational deployment. BRP Malabrigo, rotational deployment. Mission: document Chinese activities, prevent reclamation completion, maintain Philippine presence, assert sovereignty. But outmatched. 3 Philippine ships versus 44 Chinese vessels. Coast Guard cutters versus Navy destroyers. Patrol boats versus maritime militia swarm. Chinese tactics: harassment, ramming, water cannons, dangerous maneuvers, blocking operations, supply denial. August 30, 2024, Chinese Coast Guard rammed Teresa Magbanua. Multiple collisions, hull damage, crew injuries, supplies critical, mission compromised. August 26, 2024, 40 Chinese ships blocked Philippine resupply. Coast Guard Commandant sent special ice cream treat for Teresa Magbanua crew, celebrating National Heroes Day. Never delivered. Chinese blockade successful. June 12, 2024, Type 075 landing helicopter dock spotted near Sabina. PLA Navy amphibious assault ship. 40,000-ton displacement, military exercises. Ensuring potential emergency won't lead to worse scenarios. Translation: military force authorized if Philippines resists. Sea Light Maritime Transparency Group tracked Chinese presence. Director Raymond Powell. Rafted vessels serve as floating outposts. Normalize presence. Establish sovereignty claims. Precursor to permanent construction. Pattern established. First, militia vessels appear. Second, research ships survey. Third, dredgers arrive. Fourth, construction begins. Fifth, military facilities installed. Sabina currently Phase 2. Research and survey. Construction equipment not yet deployed, but coral crushing confirmed. Foundation work started. Philippine marine experts estimate, if construction proceeds uninterrupted, operational base complete 18-24 months, military facilities another 12 months. Full militarization 2027. Which threat is most dangerous? A. Island bases. B. Carrier groups. C. Submarine fleets. U.S. response measured but firm. State Department statement: "We stand with Philippines. Freedom of navigation must be protected. International law must be respected." Pentagon increased surveillance, satellite monitoring, reconnaissance flights, intelligence sharing with Manila. But no direct intervention, no military support at Sabina, no confrontation with Chinese forces. Why? Because escalation risks too high. Because U.S.-China relations already strained. Because South China Sea flashpoint could trigger conflict. Treaty obligations complicated. U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty covers armed attack against Philippine forces. Does ramming count? Does harassment? Does island building in EEZ? Legal scholars debate. Military planners uncertain. Politicians cautious. Meanwhile, China continues building, continues claiming, continues expanding. Warfare Signal analyzed China's artificial island network, strategic positioning, overlapping coverage, integrated defense. From these bases, China can monitor all South China Sea traffic, track U.S. carrier movements, intercept communications, launch missile strikes within 2,500 km, deploy fighters across region, control maritime choke points, enforce claims through force. CSIS assessment: China can see, hear, and communicate across whole South China Sea in way nobody else, including United States, can. Admiral Aquilino warned Congress, function of these islands is expand offensive capability, fighters, bombers, offensive missiles, full military infrastructure. Sabina completes the network, fills coverage gap, extends control closer to Philippines, threatens U.S. ally directly. If construction proceeds, Philippines loses. Exclusive economic zone access. Fishing rights. Resource exploitation. Maritime sovereignty. Strategic depth. Security buffer. China gains. Military foothold 75 miles from enemy. Missile coverage Palawan. Air superiority South China Sea. Naval dominance disputed waters. Fait accompli territorial contrôle. Quiz answer. China built 7 major artificial islands in Spratlys. Total 200 acres, plus 20 smaller outposts in Paracels. Sabina would be 8th major island. 3 questions for you. Can Philippines stop Chinese island building? Should U.S. military intervene directly? What happens when China completes military network? The Sabina Shoal situation represents Chinese strategy perfectly. Salami slicing, gray zone warfare, incremental expansion, never enough to trigger war, always too much to ignore. Each island individually doesn't justify military response. Collectively, they create new reality: Chinese control, Chinese territory, Chinese South China Sea. International law says otherwise. Hague ruling says otherwise. UNCLOS says otherwise. But China has guns, has ships, has determination, has patience. Philippines has law, has allies, has righteous claim. Law versus force. David versus Goliath. Small nation versus superpower. Historical pattern clear. Force usually wins, unless international community acts, unless allies support, unless costs become too high. U.S. must decide: support Philippines meaningfully, or watch China expand unchecked. Every island China builds shifts balance. Every base strengthens position. Every delay favors Beijing. Sabina Shoal may seem small, just another reef, just another island, just another Chinese base. But it's 75 miles from Philippine coast. It threatens U.S. treaty ally. It challenges regional order. It tests American resolve. And China is watching, waiting, building.